cardboard cutout fans, pre-taped crowd reaction, but Major League Baseball is back. Well, baseball has returned. I am a diehard New York Mets fan. So yes, I order the MLB TV package, and I watched the Mets home opener against the Atlanta Braves, and we won. It's different, but I have to say this. It beats watching a 10-year-old classic game that I already know the score of, and it's not marble racing on ESPN. The cardboard cutout people, that's a little strange to me, but I guess it beats putting mannequins in the stands. What really needs to be there is people. You know, us, me, you. Vendors need the work. It's just, this is the world given to us by Dr. Fauci. Yes, the guy who's taken away school and wants to make sure that you don't get to watch football either. Yes, Anthony Fauci, this is his version of the American pastime. Baseball without fans. Players supposedly needing to wear masks in the dugout. I noticed that most of the Mets were not. The coaching staff was. The umpires, when they get together to have to discuss a contested call, they put a mask on. When they're actually, in their designated position to call the game or call what's happening on the base pads, they're not wearing them. It's just absolutely unconscionable, unbelievable to me. But the great Anthony Fauci was asked to throw out the ceremonial first pitch of the Washington Nationals home opener. And this is kind of what it looked like.
Dr. Fauci, when you're ready, it's your pitch.
Wait, did I really just see that? I gotta see that again.
Just a bit outside.
Well, Tony, the kids in your neighborhood, they've got something to say to you.
You play ball like a girl!
I mean, that was just sadly pathetic. You would think. Now, he claims to be this big, diehard Washington Nationals fan. You didn't have somebody work with you? You didn't play a little pitch and catch the day before just to make sure you didn't go up there and make a complete fool and, let me say this, arse out of yourself? Unbelievable. But it just proves my theory. Didn't I tell you these guys are just these little nerdlets, these little scientists that they're so crazed now. They've got this rock star status in their own minds of their own importance, that because their whole lives they have basically been ignored, laughed at, made fun of, and now all of a sudden this is the world given to us by Anthony Fauci. Can't go to the movies. Can't go see a Broadway show. Can't have a concert. The president's canceled the Republican convention in Jacksonville because everybody's fearing a so-called corona spike, when what it really is herd immunity. I'm going to keep saying it. It's herd immunity. Even in Major League Baseball, a player can test positive and within a day or two test negative. And once he tests negative twice in 24 hours, that's it. He's cleared to play again. Shazam, Batman. But there was Fauci, and yet you just knew, even though there were limited fans there, and I'll get to that, he put on the mask to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. But when he didn't think anybody was watching, he took his mask off. And there he was, sitting in the stands without his mask on, engaged in conversation. Now, this, of course, exploded all over Twitter, and a lot of people were saying, leave Dr. Fauci alone. He's sitting with his family. First of all, why does he get to sit in the stadium? I can't. You can't. You can't buy a ticket and go in and sit down. So why does Why does Herr Fauci get to go in and say, oh, it was the fringe benefit of throwing out the first pitch? Really? Really? There's no way to figure out how to do this with, quote, all of their social distancing hogwash but Fauci gets to sit there. Now, of course, because he got lit up on social media, the powers that be and the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media had to give him an opportunity to spin it and tell us what was happening.
I think this is sort of mischievous with this thing going around. I had my mask around my chin. I had taken it down. I was totally dehydrated, and I was drinking water, trying to rehydrate myself. And by the way, I was negative COVID literally the day before. So I guess people want to make a big of that. I wear a mask all the time when I'm outside. To pull it down, to take some sips of water and put it back up again. I guess if people want to make something about that, they can.
Really, Tony? Really? Would I be able to do that? If I were out and about, would I be able to pull my mask down and have a drink of water because I needed to hydrate myself? Would that be something that the police officer, especially there in Washington, D.C., wouldn't give me the $1,000 fine, which is what they have going right now in Washington, D.C.? I'm sorry. In the pictures of you with the masks down, you're not drinking. You're talking. In fact, the photo we just showed, the guy next to you's got his mask up, but there are other pictures where his mask is down, and you guys are just sitting there laughing and having a conversation. And by the way, I don't have a problem with that. That's called normal conversation. That was the way God intended human beings to interact with one another. What's not normal is this mask that you've got us wearing. The mask that does nothing. Because the microcosm of the coronavirus, 100,000 of them fit on the head of a pin. Therefore, they can penetrate any mask. This is a bunch of absolute hooey and hogwash. It is ridiculous as going into a restaurant where they've hung plastic shower curtains between the booths. I have a woman in my church. She works in a university. She runs the lunchroom. And she was telling me the round tables that they have that the students sit at that used to sit up to like 8, they can now only seat 4. And they have devised this plastic plexiglass divider so that the 4 people sitting at each of these round tables are sitting in their own little cubicle. Are you kidding me? If the coronavirus was truly airborne, you don't think it's going to skippity hop over the plexiglass or go around it? I mean, we are being lied to on such a grand scale. Herd immunity. Herd immunity. There are more cases. They are less deadly, less serious. People are over it now within a day or two, and it's absolutely nothing. And those who still consider themselves high risk, if you need to stay home, stay home. Don't quarantine the rest of us. This is all about driving a political agenda. And Fauci, you are in this up to your eyeballs. You're trying to sell a vaccine. You're trying to promote fear. And just watching you throw that baseball, all you have done is absolutely confirm that I have been right. You have been nothing your whole life but a bookworm little nerd. And now you've got a taste of power. You're like a Barney Fife that got to finally put his bullet in the revolver, and you are going to exercise that authority, and you would become the go-to guy that the media loves to run to, and you are, by your edicts, driving the narrative. You are driving the decision of governors, even Republican governors. You have got the GOP and the Democratic establishment wrapped around your little finger, and there you sit with your mask down, looking at the rest of us like, you can't, but I can. That is exactly what I see happening. Now, some people were outraged that baseball on its opening day did a kneel for BLM, Black Lives Matter. Now, some players didn't kneel. I will say this, they did it before the national anthem. They didn't play a black national anthem. And I watched the Mets game, And I can tell you that during the 7th inning, they didn't break for commercial because they had a singer come and sing God Bless America. I loved it. I wish real fans had been there. It was a great game. And shame on the powers that be that are inflicting this upon us. But isn't it amazing? If Joe Biden gets elected, this will all go away on November 4th. Mark it down. And President Trump, when you get reelected, you need to make sure that the very first thing you do is send out an edict and whatever you have to do to lift all of this hogwash once and for all. Period. We need to be done with this. But what we're seeing happening right now in the world of sports in general, with the kneeling and the protesting and now all of this, you can't even watch ESPN anymore because it's like watching PMSNBC. All of the sports commentators, it's all a bunch of liberal propaganda and hogwash. And even Charles Barkley, who is certainly not what you would call an ardent conservative or a libertarian or anything resulting to be a Trump supporter, but even he has had enough.
Well, I think what's happening now, we turn it into a circus. We're going to spend all our time, instead of talking about racial equality and racial justice and economic justice, we spend all our time worried about who's kneeling and who's not kneeling, what things are being said on buses, what's being said on jerseys. I think we're missing the point. We need police reform. We need prison reform. And we need those are number 1 and 2 things we need to focus on. We need the cops. We need the good cops out there policing the bad cops. And like I say, we need police reform and prison reform. But the media, we all got a job to do, and they're going to spend all their time on what's on somebody's jersey and what's on the buses and who's kneeling and who's not kneeling. And that's going to defeat the purpose. My concern is just turning this thing into a circuit instead of trying to do some good stuff. Because obviously we are in a divided country, and sports used to be a place where fans could go and get away from reality. And obviously the fans are at such a disadvantage because they're going through the pandemic, and they don't want to see a bunch of rich people talking about stuff all the time. I think like I say, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but these people all have lost their jobs. They're struggling financially. They're not going to get their jobs back. And the last thing they want to do is turn on the television and hear arguments about stuff all the time. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how the public reacts.
Well, you're a little late to the party, Charles, but we're glad you're here. You think? Yes, we need the police. Not saying we don't need some reform, but we need the police. And yeah, nobody wants to be lectured to by a multi-millionaire grown adult who has gotten rich playing a child's game, and then wants to stand there and lecture us on how prejudiced and racist and awful that America is, and won't salute the flag because it's a symbol of racism and oppression. Yes, it's so racist and so oppressive. You have been able to earn hundreds of millions of dollars. You have been able to live in mansions and drive Ferraris, and it's unbelievable the wealth that you have been able to amass and accumulate, all under this oppressive, racist system. Really? Really? If we're that bad, leave. What other country on the planet would pay you to play a child's game? Well, that's that. But I am glad we're playing ball again. Now, Mr. Trump, get us back in the stadiums. And canceling the convention. I know it's because you get it, but you cannot get the media to change the narrative. You can't get your own party to stand up for you. I get it. I get it. Please tell me that the powers that be around you are planning something really, really cool that will even be better than the typical political convention. Come on, Mr. President. Come on. Let's knock Joe Dementia Biden back to the Alzheimer ward where he belongs, and he needs to stay there because we need our country back. Not the new normal, that's abnormal. We need to unmask. We need to wide open, get this economy rocking and rolling again, get the kids back in school, and we need to play real baseball and regular sports the way they were meant to be played. Well, hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate your comments. I do read them. Thank you so much. And make sure that you spread this video. That's how we get the word out that we're here. And by the way, may I just pause to tell you that we did do a kids event at our church. We brought in bounce houses, plural, all kinds of stuff, rides, anything you can think of for kids to just have a great time. And I'll tell you, we didn't quite get the attendance I was hoping to get. The day before the event, our governor not only handed out a statewide mask mandate, our local school system decided, that's it, can't have school this fall. So I understand that the psyche of people was, if it's not safe to go to school, it's not safe to go to that kids' carnival. But we had a good turnout. The kids that came had a blast. And I'll tell you, to have a mother walk up to me, literally, with tears in her eyes and her voice cracking, saying, Pastor, thank you for giving our kids their summer back, even if it was just for a day. Subscribe to the channel, smack the bell, and click the word all to get notification of my next rant. And if you ever find yourself in Bowling Green, Ohio, stop by Plain Church. Look me up, shake my hand, and I won't make you wear a mask.